Well, it's good to come out and sniff the morning air. Fill your lungs with the morning air. And what I did then was I put my head up to sniff the air, and that's why this is called the sniffing position. And it's extension of the neck. This is extension of the neck. On the converse of that, we'll be putting your chin down on your chest. That will be flexion of the neck. And it's important to know about, because if I put my head down like that with my chin on my chest, if I flex my head, then I can still breathe. But the reason I can still breathe is because I'm conscious. And without realizing it, I'm automatically keeping my upper airways open with voluntary muscular activity, even though it's controlled largely autonomically. But if I was unconscious and my head was down like that, my airway would close off. But if I've got my head in the extension position like this, in the sniffing the morning air position, then my airway is held open by the anatomical position of my head and my neck. So while it's good to sniff the morning air, it's also good to know that if we come across an unconscious patient, we need to extend the head in order to open the airway, while all the time we are monitoring that the patient is adequately ventilating their lungs. Well, let's look at what's happening here when I go into the extension position, the sniffing the air position. And here we have a model that explains that really quite nicely. So what we have here is we have the esophagus at the back, and the trachea, of course, is at the front. These are the nasal passages, and this is the tongue here. That's the hard palate, separating the mouth here from the nose above. So we can see in this position, this patient's got a reduced level of consciousness, and their head is down, their head is flexed, their chin is getting towards their chest. And we can see what's happened here is the tongue has closed off this bit at the back called the oropharynx. And in this position, no air can get from the nose to the trachea, and no air can get from the mouth to the trachea. So this is not a good situation at all. So what we need to do, providing we're happy there's no cervical spine injury, is we need to extend the head. Now watch what happens when I extend the head. When I extend the head, putting it into the sniffing the air position. This patient's still unconscious, but now we notice that the airway is open. They have a patent airway, so they can breathe. So merely changing the position of the patient's head can remove the tongue from the oropharynx, reopen the airway, and save your patient's life. What we would now do is look, listen and feel. So we'd put our head on here, and we'd look, listen and feel to make sure we've got the air going in and out of the airway. And if we have, that makes me happy with the airway.